The Huntsman: Winter's War is a fantasy adventure film directed by Cedric Nicholas Troyan. It stars Chris Hemsworth, Emily Blunt, and Jessica Chastain. The story is about two sisters, Ravenna, who is the evil queen from Snow White and the Huntsman, played by Charlize Theron, and Freya, played by Emily Blunt, who, through a tragic incident, becomes an evil ice queen. Freya trains an army of captured children to become her huntsmen and forbids them to fall in love. However, two of them, Eric the huntsman, played by Chris Hemsworth, and Sarah, played by Jessica Chastain, disobey her orders and fall in love anyway. After Ravenna is defeated in the events of the first film, Freya seeks out the magic mirror, which is a source of great power, so it becomes up to our heroes to try and stop her. So The Huntsman: Winter's War is copping a lot of flack at the moment. A lot of critics are absolutely hating this film, and I've been reading a hell of a lot of negativity. But I'm happy to say it was actually a lot more entertaining than we expected. It's definitely far, far more entertaining than the first one, which was such a bleak affair. If you've seen my review of that film, I really didn't enjoy watching it. It was just a dull, soulless kind of a movie. This one had a lot more charm and appeal, and there was a lot of humour that actually worked in it. The two leads had a heck of a lot more chemistry than Chris Hemsworth and Kristen Stewart did in the first film. And Emily Blunt, in my opinion, made for a far better villain in this film. Charlize Theron's character in Snow White and the Huntsman, while several critics seemed to love her performance, I just thought she kind of ranged from dull and monotonous to far too over the top. Emily Blunt in this one, you know, it wasn't her greatest performance, but she was a lot more likeable than Charlize was in the first film. And I even thought Charlize Theron, her role was a lot smaller in this film, but yeah, she was a lot better in this one. She was far less annoying. Throughout the running time of the movie, look, I wasn't really bored throughout it. I thought it was a passable adventure film. It wasn't great. It wasn't, leaning towards the 10 out of 10 end of the scale by any means. And it definitely suffered from a lot of things. For starters, it wasn't the best script in the world. It was better than the first one, but at the same time, it just wasn't anything remarkable. I didn't sit there at the end of the film going, wow, I really loved that movie. Throughout the course of the film, I was actually kind of leaning towards a 5 out of 10. Nothing great, but nothing terrible, just kind of middle ground sort of stuff. I did change my mind as I was making my notes about the film, so I'll get to that later. A couple of the other things that I wasn't really happy with, it was very heavily dependent on CGI, particularly in the end fight scenes. I thought the CGI was kind of used more just to look flashy rather than really serving the story. I know with fantasy films you gotta have CGI in there, but at the same time, I don't know, I didn't think it was really used that well. A lot of the other visual effects ranged from okay to okay. A lot of the creatures and animals, they weren't 100% convincing, and it was interesting because this film was actually directed by the visual effects supervisor from the first movie, which is probably why it was kind of CGI heavy in a lot of places. Another thing which really disappointed me was the fight scenes in the movie. There were some great fight scenes, and Jessica Chastain's character was a really great kick-ass female. There were some fights where she's doing cool flips over people and, doing some really cool moves and stuff like that, but they did this thing which really bugs me where they filmed everything really close up and cut very fast, so you kind of lose track of exactly what's going on. There's some great fight scenes I've seen where, things are shot from a wider angle and longer continuous takes, and those are the greatest kind of fight scenes. But yeah, this one, I really wanted a bit more out of it. So look, while it wasn't the best movie, I was entertained. I mean, you go to the movies to be entertained, and this one was passable kind of fantasy movie stuff. Particularly if you like the fantasy genre, you're probably going to think this is okay. It's not the sort of thing that really needs to be seen on the big screen, but look, down the track, if it was on TV or something like that, I'd watch it again. It really wasn't as bad as the first one. So while it wasn't anywhere near as terrible as some people are making it out to be, at the same time, it wasn't the greatest movie ever. I'm going to give Huntsman: Winter's War a 6 out of 10. On a side note, my girlfriend who came with me tonight is a big lover of the fantasy genre, and she gave this movie a 7 out of 10, mainly because she thought it looked really good, and again, it was a lot more entertaining than the first movie. So take that into consideration as well. So a lot of you have probably noticed that I've set up a Facebook page for my little movie talk thing that I'm doing, so thank you very much to everybody who's liked it. I'm really happy with everyone who's come on board. And yeah, look, if you like this video, don't forget to click subscribe at the end so you can stay up to date with all my movie reviews. And yeah, leave me some comments, let me know if you've seen this movie, what you thought of it, tell me if I'm right or wrong, and let's get a chat going, because I like to talk about movies and I would love to talk about movies with you. I'll see you soon.
Yeah, hit subscribe. Do it now. Yeah.